Well, hello everybody. We're here with Tiffany Jensen, good friend of
Hi.
mine for several years, and now my neighbor. We're actually like 300 feet away from each other, but you know, this is the technological age. We're going to use Skype rather than face to face because I don't know. It's just more fun that way. And I bought a Skype recorder. And I want to use it. Tiffany works for United Health Group. She is a provider service specialist. And I think her job is sweet, even though I don't really know all that much about what she does, but she works from home. Tiffany, can you tell me how you ended up working at home? Did you always work at home, or was this something that kind of evolved as your job progressed?
It evolved. We do have a San Diego office. Our company is based out of Minnesota, but we have a small group here in San Diego that I did work for when I first started. My boss was in San Diego at that time, and so he liked us to all be there to meet and see each other and have face-to-face chats. Then they did a reorganization, and my boss got moved to, well, not moved, different boss. I got a new boss, and he's in Minnesota. And the dynamic in our office isn't fabulous, and so I asked if I could work at home because I felt I was more productive. And my boss said he didn't care because he doesn't ever get to see me anyway, so he didn't care where I worked.
So it took no cajoling whatsoever. You didn't have to build it up. You just kind of said, hey, I want to work from home and I'll be more productive. And you said, cool.
Yep,
That's
exactly. Our United Health Group is very pro remote worker, so it's they consider it one of their benefits for working for the company, that we have remote access and anyone can work from anywhere.
You kind of walk us through a typical day for you working from home.
Sure. I'm kind of crazy, so I get up rather early and log into my computer about 5:30, and just check on things, check my email. I also run our database, and so we do imports daily to it, and I start our import at 5:30. So because everyone I work with is in Minnesota or New York, it's their start of their day, so I want to make sure that that's all done before they get into the work flow. And I have a lot of meetings, so I'm on the phone a lot on conference calls, and it's funny because it's mostly remote people. So they'll schedule a room in Minnesota, and like one person will sit in the room, but everybody else calls in because there's so many remote workers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I try to get through my workflow, so my actual job between all the meetings.
So you're saying, so even for a remote worker like you waste a lot of time in stupid meetings. That's what it
I
sounds
do
like.
a lot.
Now, do you think that, in your opinion, do you think, having worked in both environments, do you think you're subjected to more meetings as a remote worker because they figure, hey, all you have to do is dial in? Or are there more meetings when you're in the office because they figure, hey, people actually have to get in here? Like, do
I
you think
think
they call
there's
more because they think you're more available?
I think there's a lot more being a remote worker, um, because everyone wants to set up a meeting instead of, if they have a question, instead of just running over to your desk and asking you, they'll set up a meeting to discuss it for 30 minutes, um, or an hour. So I think there's a lot more meetings when you're at home. The big push from our directors and our VPs was pick up the phone, speak to people, because there's so many remote workers that um, they want you to get to know your teammates and people that you have to work with on a daily basis. So they try to promote people using the phone instead of email. And email has a paper trail.
Well, yeah, that's true. Email does have a paper trail. Well, what's your opinion? Like, do you like working on the phone more, or would you rather do emails or net meetings? Sounds like you don't like the meetings.
I don't like all the meetings. Sometimes I think it's necessary. I'm really direct in email, and so people think I'm coming across cold or rude or whatever. So sometimes it's nice for them to hear my voice, that I'm not bitch. I have a point, and I don't do all the highs and it's a great day and how are yous in my emails. It's just to the point, and sometimes it comes off the wrong way, and so sometimes it's a lot better over the phone. The meetings that are scheduled, I think if they were efficient, if they could schedule like 15-minute or 30-minute meetings and actually have an agenda and get something accomplished, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's the hour-long meetings or hour-and-a-half meetings that you just sit and everybody talks about nothing that irritate me.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up agenda-less meetings, or maybe it's more correct to say meetings with no agendas, with no set stop time. They just kind of go on forever. People seem to love those. Not sure why. So, in your opinion, do you think that being a remote worker and being in a company where there's so many remote workers, do you feel like the team is less cohesive because you're not co-located, or does it not really matter?
I think it depends on your boss. When I was in the office, I felt like our team was a mess. There was no direction. There was nothing. Everyone was out for themselves and trying to figure out what to do, and no training. And when we got our new director, and I was still in the office for about a month before I went remote. He really brought everybody together. So now it's great. We're a great team, and we all communicate well. So I really think it just matters who's your boss.
Right. And you also mentioned that your efficient style of writing in emails gets translated into bitchiness.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm an efficient email writer too. I don't have a whole bunch of how are yous, what's going on, unless I'm actually writing to a friend in a friendly type of manner. Otherwise, it's kind of like, hey, I got a question, and can you answer it for me, please? Out of the people in your office, or virtual office as it is, since they're all remote workers, how many of them have efficient styles like you? And do you think that,
not many.
Yeah.
Not many.
So
I think that's what it comes across bad when I do it. And I don't know if it's maybe like Midwest sweet people. I don't know. Like I just think
they just don't like it. They just don't like that direct style.
They don't like it.
So it sounds like if I was working for your company and I got to an email, I could not read the beginning and the end, and I just like look in the middle for a question or some kind of meat to the message.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's retarded. But hey,
I
guess I would.
I agree.
I guess I would be considered an asshole bastard if I worked for your company.